Welcome to Fantasy Quick Hits. This is Miles and his lovely assistant today, Grace. And this is
Yay!
Fish Talk.
Fish talk.
Yes. I
Dolphins?
No. The kids, I went to go pick up groceries and I came back and I was on the phone with my sister and the kids are like showing me pictures of fish and names and stuff. I'm like, what has happened?
Oh, don't forget the tank and the
Yeah.
plants.
They've got
And the
they've got a
decorations.
big plan. I'm like, what has happened in the last half hour? I have no idea. And apparently Grace has made a deal with them.
I didn't make a deal. Reagan just told me that he likes fish and he started drawing pictures and it actually started when he was going through his bug jars.
Yeah.
So he started compiling them thinking about what a bug might like.
Yeah.
So then from there, he's like, "Oh, Mom, do you think a fish might like this?" I'm like, "Well, I suppose."
Yeah.
And then he got all excited about fish, and then it turned into fish.
And
then
it sounds like we're getting fish.
well, I told him that he would. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no.
Yeah.
I said he would have to talk to you
Yes. And so
and put together a plan.
And usually, what happens when it's like this, like, oh, ask your father, which means she wants me to agree with her.
Well, I was
not
just
every time, most times. Anybody with kids out there?
I'm on board with the fish, but I know that
Grace has bad history with fish.
yes,
She inherited a tank at school and
a really, really big one, like a 40-gallon tank.
And the
Huge.
previous teacher barely took care of them.
Well, she did take care of them, but I think she probably knew more what she was doing than I did.
Yeah, and all the fish died, and then Grace got replacement fish, and they all died, and then the fish we had at home died.
Yeah.
And anyway, back to football talk is what this is actually supposed to be about.
So now we're going to talk about the Dolphins.
The Dolphins. What do you think about Jonathan Taylor going to the Dolphins?
I think that might be a bad spot for him.
What?
Because he wants to win.
Of course he wants to win. At the Dolphins?
Yeah, I don't think the Dolphins is going to... I don't think they're...
They are poised. They've got two of the best wide receivers there are. Two is serviceable. And Jonathan Taylor, the only thing that concerns me with Jonathan Taylor is if he is currently injured, but we don't know if he's playing possum and being on the pup for that.
Mm-hmm.
But Taylor, they need a big back. They've got Devon Achane, the rookie, and then Mostert and Wilson are both old. They're not as old as me.
That's true.
They're not as old as you either, though.
No. Well, there's football old and there's normal old.
Yeah.
And we're not old and normal.
Yes. And they've got two of the best wide receivers in the game right now. I didn't think that Irsay, the Colts owner, would trade him in division or in the AFC. Yeah. I figured he'd go to an NFC team, but the only other teams that I've heard that are really in are the Broncos, your team, or the Bears, Joey's team.
Yes.
And the Broncos, they spent a lot of money on Wilson. They could be in win now. I could see him sending a first round for Taylor because Taylor is a legit RB.
Well, we hope.
He is.
I'm just saying. You said the Broncos could. I'm like, well, we hope.
Yeah.
We could hope.
Yeah. And the way I approach like fantasy football is I want to win now. I will mortgage the future for the present. Yeah. But that's a dynasty league thing.
Well, that's how you get houses.
Yes. Hey, did you like playing in a dynasty league or was that a little much for you?
I think that's a little much for me because I think I like just building a new team every year.
Yeah. That is fun.
Yeah.
I hated Dynasty to begin with, and then I loved it. And then during the pandemic, the Dynasty was the only thing that we kept going.
Yeah.
And so, where do boats go when they're sick? To the boat dock.
That's a good one.
I'm not making these up. Right?
I'm pretty sure you're looking them up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a funny guy, but not joke funny.
Yes. Hey. What does a cow use to do math?
Her hooves?
No, a calculator.
Oh, good God. My grandpa always used to say it was easy to count cattle. I guess it was Dad. I heard it from Dad. Anyway, you counted the legs and divided by 4.
Oh.
You counted. But
well, that's what do you do if you have a 3-legged cow?
You put her in a museum. My great uncle actually kind of had like a little museum of oddities back home. and he had like a 3-legged calf. And there was just some weird stuff. Dad told me about it.
Did you ever see the 2-headed calf in North Platte at the visitor center?
I think I did. Anyway, we're back to football talk.
Yes.
Where do you think the Broncos are going to be this year?
Where do I think the Broncos are going to be?
Mm-hmm.
That's
right. Stall by asking the question back to me.
Yes. Well, you've got to clarify the question.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I'm humble.
Plus, it does give you some time to think. But they are in a pretty tough division. I would say they're probably going to be third.
Really?
Yes.
Well, who's won?
Kansas City.
Yeah. Who's two?
I don't know yet.
I think are the Raiders a dumpster fire?
See, it could go the other three, it could go either way. It kind of I haven't really seen what the teams look like this year. But Kansas is probably Kansas City.
Yeah.
That is.
Yes.
Yes.
No. Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, Oklahoma?
Kansas City, Missouri.
I forgot.
Oh, that's this is like argument, and I feel.
And she's like, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but she's like, and then Oklahoma's going to do this, and then Oklahoma's going to do that. I'm like, are we talking about college? Because I was talking about NFL. She's like, Kansas City, and I'm like, Kansas City is not in Oklahoma.
No,
and I'm like, there's Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. She's like, no, Kansas City, Oklahoma, where the Chiefs are from. I'm like,
yes,
you are so wrong.
Somehow I had it stuck
in
my head.
And her confidence was such that I'm like, I know the answer to this, and I know she's wrong, but I'm like, I had to
welcome to the other side of that.
Yeah, I'm like, here, honey, this is where Kansas City, Missouri.
Yes.
All right, we're deviating from football here, and this is it. How long has Anakin Skywalker been evil? Since the 6th grade.
Oh, gosh. Goodness.
What's Yoda's advice for going to the bathroom? Do-do or do-do not do.
All right, that's a good one. I like that one. Oh, goodness.
What do you call... I don't like that one.
Say that one.
Oh. What's the name of Obi-Wan's twin brother? Obi also. These are not really worth it. So,
yes.
Anything else you want to tell the people?
No, not really.
Nothing?
No.
So, when I start the podcast with, this is your handsome host, do you agree?
Well, yes, I do think that you're handsome. I am married to you, after all.
That is true. Still, after all these years. But anyway, that's been long enough. And it's been Fantasy Quick Hits with Miles and Grace.